So, welcome back to another episode of the Web3 Insights, where we sit down with the minds building the systems that power the decentralized future. Today, I'm joined by Sarah Stocks, who is the founder of Sukses Today. Sukses Today is a consultancy helping fast-growing Web3 companies scale through customer and operational excellence. From structured onboarding flows to investor readiness and feedback loops between product and success teams, Sarah brings enterprise level insights into a Web3 native team. If you're a founder, product lead, or ops manager looking to scale without chaos, this is definitely going to be one for you. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on. Absolute pleasure. But just to start, let's start with a bit about you. What inspired you to launch Sukses Today? How did your background as well lead into sort of helping Web3 startups scale more sustainably?
Yeah, so I have been working in customer success and existing business teams for 14 years or so now. I started in the SaaS industry, built up my career, and then left to set up my own business. I was working on different projects, project management, software implementations, customer success projects, and fell into this industry through Celsius. One of my friends, she was heading up the PMO team, and she asked me to do some project management, and I thought, great, go for it. Totally underestimated the industry, as I think many do, and then that was 4 years ago. So since then, I've taken my experience from the SaaS world and brought that through into the Web3 space. I have been working then through Celsius, through blockchain analytics at Merkle Science, building out the customer success and partnerships teams, and really seeing that there's a gap, that customer success and existing business, it's just not one of the main priorities that we see in the Web3 space. So set up a Sukses Today, and as you say, working with customers now to really prioritize their customer success teams and build out for the future.
Absolutely. I know we discussed this before, but just for the purpose of the audience as well, where did the name Sukses Today come from?
Sukses Today. I was in Bali over Christmas and New Year, decided after 4 weeks that when I was supposed to be coming home that I didn't want to come home. I was rebranding, repositioning my business, and started Googling and trying to figure out exactly what my name was going to be. And after looking on ChatGPT, asking it lots of questions, it came, I hadn't told it I was in Bali, it came up with success being SUKSES, the Indonesian way of spelling success. So there we are.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, I completely agree with you as well on, customer success and the need for customer success in a lot of businesses, especially within the Web3 industry. There's often confusion in early stage startups, let's say, between support, onboarding, community, and success. How do you define customer success, and what are the key sort of pillars?
So customer success is all post-sale activities. So we're a proactive revenue generating team, working with customers, helping them understand the value of a product, why they should be using it, the benefits of the product. And then from there, you're building that long-term relationship. So anything, as I say, it's all post-sale activity. It all sits under customer success, and then you've got the pillars within it. So you start off with, in the Web2 SaaS industry, we would call it more on the commercial side. So this is the customer success team, the people that are holding the relationship. They're onboarding the users. Again, they're making sure that the users, the clients, understand the product. They are doing regular check-ins, so they're understanding and helping the client when there's escalations, when they're unsure of the product. You're then understanding when there's a churn risk ahead of time, rather than waiting until a renewal date. The customer success managers, they'll work them through the renewals and the retention, and it's just not a question of, are we going to give you the money, are the problems, why would we not give you the renewal?
Yeah.
You've then got the support team, so technical support. That is the team that generally use the tool like support. So that's looking at the feature requests, bugs, quick how do I, simple things like password resets. Then you've got as you're scaling out the bigger companies, you've then got the professional services and education. They'd usually be split into the third and fourth pillars. So professional services would be looking at custom reports. So if you've got a client that wants something specific, if you've got a dev team that can build that report, you can then bring in extra revenue through the professional services side. And then education, so they would be building out the role-based learnings, their certifications. And then in Web3, you've got a slightly different arm to customer success in that you've got the community management. So the community managers looking after the users, working through Discord servers in that sense.
Awesome. You talk about a lot about obviously customer success as a growth driver. Can you walk us through how structuring this right from the beginning, helps boost engagement, retention, and even revenue, which, are all incredibly important aspects for Web3 businesses that are starting out?
Yeah. So you've got the onboarding piece. If that doesn't happen in the right way, there's a very high chance that you've lost your users, your clients upfront, and it's really hard to then turn around that relationship. And even if you turn the relationship around, there's quite often that black mark in their heads and thinking that there's an issue. So getting the onboarding piece right is huge. Starting with a simple welcome email. So that can even be triggered as soon as the sales team close a deal. That's then just triggered automatically. But getting the onboarding right and just educating the clients and the users on the onboarding process and why they should be using the tool. To then, again, it goes back to building the relationships. And if then they're using your product or your service and there's another team, they see the value, then you're expanding out on other teams. That's more education, so professional services, selling some training, licenses, so you've got the expansions there. And then you've also got cross-sells and upsells. So as you're releasing more features, you've got the upsells on that side, and you've got the cross-sells of other features. So you say they're using wallets, they might want to use staking. As you're building all of this and building the relationships, again, it comes back to why would the client not want to, as a user, why would you not want to keep spending money and keep getting the value and making your daily life easier?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you say, say you're brought into a fast-growing Web3 startup that's just launched or, found early traction. What are the first 90 days of setting up customer success properly?
Yeah. Map out, in theory, you should have your customer journey mapped out. If you don't have it mapped out, then absolutely map it out. And when we say map it out, we're looking at every single touch point, every single trigger point. And for each step of the process, what are the pain points? What are the trigger points? What are the emotions? So, for example, if you've got a product and as part of the configuration, you need to import a load of data, so client data. Is that data clean? Have they looked through it all? But a lot of people, if they're not technically minded and they see a list of data, they're going to freak out. So that's a pain point. That needs to, your customer success manager, then whether you've got a video that's just within your tool, whether it's customer success manager walking through what that looks like, map out your customer journey. Understand or talk to your stakeholders. So understand company objectives, the current lay of the land with your clients, how the clients are feeling. Check in with your clients. So if you've got clients already, this is something that I'm actually working on at the minute with a client. They're going from 0 to 500 clients over the next 4 months. So that first piece of mapping out the customer journey and building out that then into the actual product and the onboarding process within the product is huge. Once you've done that, you're thinking about the tooling as well. So CRM, again, this client, because they are going from 0, they haven't got a CRM in place. If you've got a sales team, then generally you'll have a CRM, so customer relationship management tool to track your clients. Sometimes it's on Excel. So at this point, I would say you definitely need to bring in a tool such as HubSpot on the CRM side, and then on the support side, a tool like Zendesk, Freshdesk, to start tracking your your technical support queries, and then the support tool will then integrate through to the product and engineering team, which a lot of the time is Jira. So making sure then you've got the configuration. And at this point, I would say we talk about an MVP on the product. This is MVP of customer success. You don't want to go in and build out a million different automations and 20 different custom fields at this point. You want to just have the steps and the fields that you need at that point, and then you build on that as you go through the next 2-3 months and onwards, obviously. So the tooling side of things, and then your team as well. Who's going to manage all of this? If you're a small startup, you don't need an onboarding person, a customer success manager, a support person. You need that technically minded customer facing person, which is difficult to find at times, but they are out there. There are people that are customer facing, and they need to be able to kind of talk through on a technical side of when we're talking about product, to be able to talk through on the technical side as well.
Yeah, sure. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen around onboarding and retention in the Web3 space, and what can founders do to avoid them?
So I would say education is huge, and again, coming back to the onboarding, but ensuring that your customers understand the value proposition, the tooling. And so as users are being onboarded, so say there's rapid growth of users, this comes back to the tooling side of things, and the technical jargon as well. We use a lot of technical jargon, the technical infrastructure in this industry, all about education and coming back to helping the users.
Yeah, no, of course, amazing. Makes complete sense. A lot of founders, talk about building for the user. But how do you build, a real system where user feedback influences product roadmap meaningfully?
Yeah. Tracking this in your support tool. So once you've got your support tool set up, you've configured it, and you're tracking bugs, you're tracking issues. The other thing would be the feature requests. As your customer success managers, as your support team are talking to your users and your customers, they're bringing in feedback, and they're understanding, they're hearing trends as they're talking. The first thing to do is to say to the client, if a client asks for a feature request, to put it into the support tool. Now, if your clients aren't used to support tools, then I would suggest customer success or the support team actually raise that ticket for them, but it has to go into the support tool with the client name tracked against it, so that then, one, we can communicate back to your client, and two, you can look at it and say, if it's a client within the 5% of your business, one client has asked for this versus 5 of your top 20, you need to be able to track that back to the reporting. And then this would then go through from, once it's in the support tool, into the product and engineering teams. Once it's then being tracked, we would usually have a quarterly meeting and look at what has come in, look at the roadmap, discuss. You'd have a framework around prioritization. So is it on revenue? Is it on client size? Whatever the framework looks like. And then product would usually go away, have a look through it from their side, look at how long it's going to take to actually implement it. Is it worth doing it again? If it's a client in your 5%, is it worth the cost of actually implementing it or not? Then once product have really worked through what isn't or isn't going into the roadmap, then that would then come back to the ticket, and then we can communicate from a customer success point of view back to the client. And one thing I would say, back when I first started doing customer success, we would put feature requests in all the time, which is fine. We want to be doing that. But we'd have products then saying, oh yeah, that it will be next quarter, next whatever. And we'd never get an answer. And there were times then it would get to 2 years later, and we were still hearing from products, and they're saying, oh yeah, it's coming. So I've had that conversation, and I will always now say to my customer success managers, be honest with your customers, product, be honest with us. If it's something that is absolutely never going to get into the system, tell us. I'd rather know about it, and then we can communicate that back to the customer. And again, you're building that relationship, your customers then trusting you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's often, when Web3 companies scale fast, operations, I find, often lag behind, particularly, within the early stage startups. Where do bottlenecks typically arise, in your opinion? How do you structure systems to prevent them as well?
Yeah, coming back to the systems, starting off with your MVP of setting up tools, your CRM and your support tool. And then looking at once you've then gone through your MVP and you're using your tools, you can then start to iterate and look at things like repetitive processes and bring in automation to help you. Once you've got this in place, obviously then as you're scaling, that really helps you. Having a system in place that isn't being used properly, that is quite often what we see. People think, oh great, I've got a CRM in place, and then suddenly rapid growth happens and you've got a CRM in place, but it's not configured correctly, and then it costs twice as much time and money to fix it. And then the team side of things as well. Have you got your team set up for success? So do they know the company vision and mission across the company? But do they also know where they sit within the team, what their roles and responsibilities are? So as the company grows, do they understand where it stops as a customer success manager? So if they're your first hire, then you're splitting out customer success into success and support. Do they understand where their success piece stops and where support brings it in? So really understanding the team side of things as well.
Yeah, I feel like having this structural discipline will allow companies to be ready when it comes to speaking with and or dealing with investors. Can you walk us through how being operationally and customer success ready actually increases investor confidence?
Yeah, so investors want to see that you're ready for that growth, that you're structured, that you're thinking long term. So having your framework in place and building those relationships, looking at things like customer lifetime value as a metric, how much are your customers spending across the time that they're with you, looking at the churn rate. So is your churn rate low? That usually what that means, then you've got your high retention rates. Putting the processes in place, so the automation, when they can see that your company is running smoothly, and that the idea obviously behind investment is to then scale. So if they can see that you've got everything set up in place and ready to go, then that gives them the confidence. The feedback from your customers as well, that's really important. So to having that feedback in place, the feedback loop in place, again, this is important.
Yeah, for sure. Gives them that operational stability, right? And
Exactly.
sometimes in Web3 when we're with a lot of startups, that the focus is so drawn on the actual product, the tech and everything behind it, that sometimes the business and operational stability and structure is sometimes sort of not always, but can sometimes be a bit of a back foot. And from the investor's perspective, if you've got that, structure, that stability, then it makes the business and the operations of the business so much more attractive. So yeah, makes complete sense. To finish up, in your view, what are the key metrics Web3 startups should track across customer success, onboarding? God, I'll tell you what, that is a tongue twister when you say it together: customer success, onboarding, and
Support.
operations. Yeah, and operations as well, to ensure long-term growth.
Onboarding, so time to actually onboard, the product adoption. We spoke about customer lifetime value, churn rates as well, retention rate, so the percentage of customers that are staying with you. NPS, so net promoter score. So that's the question that we see quite a lot now. How likely are you to recommend this product or service to families or friends? That NPS looks across your business as a whole. So that could be taken in anything. And that's something that the investors will also look at. And then you've also got CSAT. So CSAT is customer satisfaction, is more on the support side. And that would go out once the ticket is closed, that would go out to your users, your clients. And that looks at that specific interaction. So the specific interaction that the support team have been working with the clients on.
Nice. Okay, amazing. Sarah, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Your insights around building scalable foundations in Web3, from structured onboarding to operational clarity, in this space, I think desperately needs more of, and something we've spoken about a lot in the past, that a lot of these Web3 companies and founders need more of within their operations team. For any Web3 founders, product leaders, or ops professionals listening, if you're going fast or growing fast, should I say, but feel like your internal systems, customer journeys, or operational workflows just aren't keeping up, I can't recommend Sukses Today highly enough. Sarah and her team specialize in helping Web3 projects remove bottlenecks, improve retention, and as we mentioned at the end, they're build investor-ready structures, the kind of stuff that truly supports long-term growth, which is incredibly important within this space. So do click on the links in below, and head over to Sukses Today or connect with Sarah directly on LinkedIn just to see how they can support your scaling journey. As always, if you're enjoying the podcast, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and Spotify, and follow us, like, share on LinkedIn to stay up to date with the latest insights. Thank you so much for listening, Sarah. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And no, you're welcome. We'll see you next time.